Welcome to the APTA's Grand Prix Series event, the Philly Open, presented by APTA national sponsors Viking, Savory, and Uline. We are live from the Philadelphia Cricket Club on the APTA network, presented by eNet Live. I'm Jerry Viant, along with Patty Hogan, and we're bringing you the women's final between the number 2 seeds, Cynthia Dardis and Amy Shay, and the number 3 seeds, Liz Cruz and Gabri Niculescu. So, Patty, here we go.
Jerry, this is going to be a highly contested match. The 5th of the year between these two players. Let's take a look at our players.
The player bio will show us where everybody's from.
We've got Liz Cruz from Trumbull, Connecticut. Liz is the director of platform tennis at Brooklawn Country Club. Gabriella Niculescu is her partner, and Gabby is the director of platform tennis at the Millbrook Club in Connecticut. She lives in Norwalk, Connecticut. More Connecticut players on the other side of the net will be Cynthia Dardis from Stamford, and Cynthia is the head platform tennis professional at the Lake Club in Connecticut. And then we go over to Amy Shay from Wilton, Connecticut. She's the director of platform tennis at Woodway Country Club.
So there's no surprises here, Patty, between these two teams. They've played each other several times, and actually going into this match, they are tied head-to-head, 2 tournament wins each, and whoever wins this match here will become the number 1 seeds going into the Nationals. So it is huge. Harnish van Starenburg will remain at number 2 regardless of what happens, and the other team will be the number 3 seeds. So this is a toss here for who goes 1 and who goes 3. So there's a lot on the line. So let's take a look at the individual players as they warm up. We've got on the close side to us, Cynthia Dardis on the deuce side, warming up her serves. And there's going to be a lot on her plate today. So our question is, will she be able to handle the barrage of Gabby's rollers? And Cynthia's strengths are her drop shot, so she is very happy this morning. The temperature has dropped. It's right now at 30 degrees, so she'll have a lot more opportunities possibly to have a drop shot winner as opposed to yesterday when it was bouncing up. Her partner, Amy Shay, is the swooper. She can hurt you in movement with her wingspan, and she can hit a dime. So they depend on her big ground strokes to win points and her slash overhead. So Amy Shay now is on the right. She's the taller of the two. And Patty, why don't you talk us through Niculescu and Cruz down the far end?
All right, on the far end in the red vest with the reddish-orange paddle is Gabriella Niculescu, and she's got one of the most dominant shots in the sport of platform tennis with the women. She's got this roller overhead that poses a problem for every team they play, particularly with her rollers into that deuce court, which is where Cynthia Dardis, you'll see her get a lot of action chasing that ball up the side screen, she hopes. That's one of the keys to defend against Niculescu. And in the ad court, we have Liz Cruz serving. Liz is a former national champ with Anna Brazova.
Ready to begin.
So let's take a look at the keys to winning by Viking.
I'll take one of those, Gabby. Whichever one you...
So for Cruz and Niculescu,
nicely done.
Same thing every match, Jerry. As
Okay.
long as they stay on the same page. Each of them is a dominant player. When they've paired up, their sum of their individual parts is so mighty, but they just have to stay along the same page in terms of the strategies and, ride the ebbs and flows of a match. They've got to serve well, and it's up to Niculescu to hit that roller to create a lot of open court for their team, particularly going into that deuce corner of Cynthia Dardis. For Dardis and Shay, they've got to withstand Gabby's roller. Both teams have to serve well, Jerry, particularly Dardis and Shay. And Dardis and Shay do really
to
well
serve.
when they control the pace of play.
And Gabby Niculescu is going to start out serving.
15, love. 15 all.
And Tim McAvoy is in the chair as our umpire.
(30-15).
Jerry, yesterday when we had rain all day, if you just got the serve in the box, you had about a 90% chance of winning the point. Today we're back to ideal paddle conditions, although it's a little sunny. And you're going to have to serve with depth because all these players will jump on their return of serves. You're going to have to be spring-like when they play out here, Jerry.
So I think the conditions favor Dardis and Shay's
30
ability
all.
to control the speed of play. They like a nice, even, slow, methodic speed. And the rain yesterday, of course, that was not going to happen. So that's
as
one
we
of
know,
the...
Dardis and Shay play a lot of three-set matches, Jerry, to your point. They're just going to grind it out no matter what, every match they ever play. And I think that, personally, to me, is the sign of a great team. Some of these teams,
30-40.
when it's not going well for their team, sometimes you kind of see them fade away as a team and as individuals probably before their team fades. Dardis and Shay never fade. They always contend.
(30-40). Niculescu serving. There's the roller of Gabby Niculescu that we're talking about.
Deuce.
Jared, for me, I think it's crucial for Dardis and Shay, after hitting an overhead, to volley the next ball straight ahead toward the middle or toward Cruz in that deuce court. They've got to keep it away from that Niculescu forehand drive.
Advantage, Shay. Deuce.
So that's Gabby Niculescu will find the openings in the court. So Dardis and Shay didn't shift over to block those 2/3, and Niculescu got Dardis in a reaching error. You really have to shut down the high percentage part of the court with both these teams. They'll find the weakness.
Advantage, Cruz. Fault. Deuce. Advantage, Shay. Ball was wide. Ball was wide. Deuce.
Nice gesture by Amy Shay, acknowledging her ball was wide.
It's a good, solid first game, Patty.
It's what I expect out of two of the top teams in the country, Jerry. They just pick up where they left off after their last match. There's really no surprises with either team here. They know exactly what to expect from each other.
I think Cruz, Niculescu are going to try to employ some
Advantage,
different
Shay.
tactics than what they have the last two times they've met. As we've watched them through the season, they've alternated in the backcourt who's playing the ad side and who's playing the do side, but they've made some tweaking to their net positioning. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. We'll get into that as the match goes on and we can really identify.
Dardis and Shay, they lead the first set 1-0.
Jerry, can I ask you one question that was asked to me a lot this week, and I thought I would wait to ask you on the air the question. You talk about shifting all the time, and Dardis and Shay, it's so key for them to really shift and cover the 2/3. What happens when Niculescu starts coming toward the middle from that ad court? It looks like Dardis and Shay are going to have to hold their position as if Gabby was driving from the ad court corner a little bit. Is that correct?
That's what I always like to do. Is still make your opponent hit into the least amount of court over the highest part of the net. If you track with Gabby and one player tries to line up with the ball, she's going to get you to reach. And there's
Love
so much,
15.
That was a good question to ask me because I knew the answer.
Well, I know you know the answers to all my questions, Jerry.
No, but I watch a lot of teams try to follow her, and then she's just got too much speed and too much spin on the ball. They end up making a reaching error.
Love 30.
And again, you're going to see players use their power and go right at each other. This court is so small, and they're going to make each other pay for short volleys.
Love 40.
So Dardis in a bit of a hole here on her first serving game.
$15.40. $30 outside. 30-40.
Right here you see Dardis and Shay slow it down just a bit. Adjustments we'll see out of Cruz and Niculescu is Liz Cruz taking more of the overheads. I think she wants to hit some hard ones just like her partner Gabby.
Advantage Shay.
From love 40 down to add in, that's Dardis and Shay. They always come back, it seems.
Deuce.
There's the gap that I was talking about where Dardis didn't move over, straddle that line and be close to Amy Shay.
Okay.
think that's the
Advantage,
combination.
Cruz.
Cruz and Niculescu, they get you reaching for volleys, and you hardly have time to take a step before the next one's right on you.
Game, Cruz and Niculescu. Games are 1-all, first set.
So 2 breaks. You hear that chatter of Liz Cruz. She's always encouraging her partners. And here's the transition.
Jerry Cruz is really taking the initiative more on the overheads.
Ball's out. Love 15.
All right, so that was a very smart play, but I would think Niculescu should let Cruz take that next shot. She would have had a better angle to stuff behind Cynthia after chasing that drop shot. But Gabby read the play, set the play up, and kind of jumped across. So now it's a flat volley as opposed to an angle volley going in between. And
Love
these are the
30.
little things that make a difference in a tactical play, is how you see the court with your partner. As you know, Patty, it's a small court, so either player can hit any shot. But it's not what you can reach, it's what's yours. Liz Cruz is serving.
30-all.
I think, as you mentioned earlier, that was one of the keys to the team. It's her serving. She did get broken a couple of times yesterday.
Niculescu and Cruz makes such amazing low volleys, really athletic type of low shots. So I really think Cruz doesn't have to worry about that first volley
Ball's
like a lot
out.
of people do.
30-40.
So here's where I see the difference in the net setup with Cruz and Niculescu. They're having Liz Cruz take more of the overheads and Niculescu slide across in front looking for the drive. My question is, Patty,
Dardis and Shay, they lead the first set 2-1.
if they stay with that formula, it's going to cut down on the ability of and the number
exactly, because you don't want to lose
of
the point if
rollers
it's the
that
other way around.
Gabby Niculescu is going to get to hit.
Well, Jerry, that's a good point, and actually we haven't seen any of those rollers into Cynthia's corner yet here in 3 games, and they certainly have had some opportunities. But I think that's the thing with Niculescu and Cruz. They have to be on the same page about what game plan they think is going to work. And I think Liz is pretty determined that she needs to help out on the overheads. It remains to be seen. Right now, I feel like Dardis and Shay are enjoying the tempo and the shots.
Dardis to serve, 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to have to think about how that play, they could stay with that play and yet still set up Niculescu's roller on the left. It's going to take a lot of communication and choreographing.
And I think when Cruz does take the overheads and she's aiming into that ad corner, once the ball gets low and she's just hitting a slice or slash, she simply takes that
15.
ball right into the body of Amy Shay versus trying to get it into a corner.
And this is the familiar formation at net for Dardis and Shay. They always have Cynthia Dardis hitting the overhead, so she's always to the left, and they're setting up her overhead.
Amy Shay's overhead.
Amy Shay, sorry, overhead, and to set up Cynthia Dardis's drop shot in front.
And the reasons they do that, Jerry, is Shay
15
has
all.
an outstanding overhead, that little slice overhead that she's developed. And Dardis, I think, on top of the net is the better volleyer.
She's got that drop shot. She can hit 10, 15 drop shots in a match.
Ball coming back. 30-15.
Shout out to our buddy Dave O'Muller out in Chicago. Peloton of one. We ride with Dave. I ride with Dave.
$30 all.
Jerry, I just love that return of Niculescu. Just pounded the ball right at Dardis. That's the price you pay for a short serve with the cooler temperatures.
Ball's out. 30-40.
They've got Dardis and Shay are so solid in their positioning at net, knowing who's going to take one ball, that Cruz and Niculescu only have a few boards to work with in order to create movement. And Liz Cruz has got to
Deuce.
pay attention to what's in front of her when Cynthia Dardis is on the right. I'll point it out during the play. And there's not a lot of opportunities. It doesn't come up that often, but when it's there, Liz Cruz has got to make that the most of it. So right now, Cynthia Dardis is on the side that she's not the most comfortable and they like to get
Advantage.
away from.
Dardis.
And if Liz Cruz can get that lob to go over Cynthia's left shoulder and get her moving back and left, they're going to create movement and opportunities to get a short ball. This is where Dardis and Shay, they could play this like this with their eyes closed. They know exactly where each other is on the court and where they are in relation to the net and what shot selections they're going to use based on that. But when they're on the other side, it's not so familiar.
Here's the signature overhead from Amy Shay.
And here we go.
Deuce.
If you can remember, the whole play started because it was the lob over Cynthia Dardis that pulled her way behind the service box at the net, and then, you know, Cruz capitalized, I think, and recognized. Jerry, you talk about it all the time. The great teams recognize what they're given.
Advantage Dardis.
I like the move, though, by Niculescu. She missed it, but that team has to move. The more athletic they are, the more risk they are to their opponents. Dardis and Shay do a great job of taking away movement from their opponents, and they've got to take some chances.
Deuce.
I always think you play great athletic players, Cruz and Niculescu, and somehow you got to get them playing flat-footed.
Advantage, Cruz.
That little topspin roller helped jump that ball over the net.
So because she hit that ball with a little top chair,
That out.
it kind of climbed over the net. See, I'd love to see Cruz cut that ball off. Cynthia went again beyond the service line to hit that overhead. I wouldn't let her off the hook by letting the ball get into the screen. Beautiful low volley.
Game, Cruz and Niculescu. Games are 2-all.
And there you
First
saw
set.
Liz Cruz taking advantage when Cynthia is on the left. Kind of pushed it down the line, but the hole was there and the shift wasn't. So I just want to take a moment, shout out to our tournament director, Scott Falatek, who is the head platform tennis director here at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. And he is put together a wonderful team. This is the first time we're here at the Philadelphia Cricket Club for the Grand Prix. And things are running very smoothly. Okay, so 2-all, first set. Niculescu serving.
Who's going to be the first player to hold serve today, Jerry?
15 love.
So yesterday in the rain, all holds of serve.
They were fabulous serving yesterday.
Today, 4 straight breaks and to start off the women's final.
Balls out. 15 all. Thirty, 15.
And then to one of the keys, Patty, you see there's very good communication between Cruz and Niculescu. They got to close. You can't
30
stay back
all.
off the net and give Amy Shay a window like that, because she'll put the ball right there, and you saw Gabby's making a reaching error. You've got to tighten up those holes.
You've got to give Shay the outside shot of the court.
And she
You
can make
almost
that
have
shot.
to shift over even a little bit more than you would, because you can see Shay can spot that drive of hers.
30, 40.
And she can make that shot. When she's inside the service line, Amy's deadly. But you still got to give her the low percentage. You can't give her the middle of the court. 2 faults, and Niculescu's looking at a break point.
Deuce.
Jerry, I always think that if you put that ball through the middle, through the right hip, even if the shot comes back to you, you have a better shot on your next drive. You've set yourself up again for another ball. Sometimes you go out wide, you miss, or they hit an angle volley that maybe you can't make a hands play on.
You've got to encourage your opponents to think that that wide shot is wide open.
Advantage, Shay.
You almost bait them, Jerry, in a sense.
Okay, another break point for Dardis and Shay.
Deuce.
You could see how far over Liz Cruz had moved to her left there to be in a position to defend Dardis's drive that she fully expected.
So Cynthia's missed 3 forehands here in this game. If I was Cruz Niculescu, I'd be giving her every single ball right now.
If I was Liz Cruz, I'd get up there with my paddle a little bit more toward the middle, possibly cut off that middle a little bit here. She stayed on her backhand.
Advantage Cruz.
Ooh, and those short lobs, Jerry. You do not want to be Cynthia Dardis when there's a short lob headed to Niculescu's overhead.
Cruz Niculescu making that setup again.
Deuce.
This Cruz is too far out of the service box to change the direction to go back into Amy Shay. Even if that ball went over the net, it was going to be short.
Deuce. Deuce.
Nice serve down the tee.
Advantage Cruz.
I love watching Niculescu's first volley at times, Jerry, where you can just see her just zero in on the ball, and she wants to hit that ball. Still, Cruz is getting herself over to the left, hitting the overheads.
Game. Niculescu and Cruz.
It's a hold.
They lead the first set
in the
3
women's
games to 2.
We're in Philly. Jerry, I have one history question for you today. Do you know the club in Philadelphia who has a former member who was a Titanic survivor and won national championships? Do you know what club he played for?
Would have to be the cricket club.
Jerry, again, you're spot on. There's so much history to this place, and I had a tour from Scott Falatek around the grounds, and I love seeing the old plaques of all the champions. Really fun to get a feel of the cricket club.
2-3.
You get an opportunity to play cricket?
I did not yet.
15 love.
You would love all the lingo. LBW, silly mid-on. It's a whole nother game. All right. Cynthia Dardis serving.
Something tells me you might be good in cricket, Jerry.
30 love.
Jerry, how many times on the short ball do we already see in 5 games are people just bringing it right at the bodies of each other? It's fair game here, the highest level of paddling with the women's game.
30-15.
You'll always say the court's so small, you don't have a lot of choices, not a lot of room, so you're either going to hit at your opponents or between them. And when I say at them,
40,
you're not
15.
headhunting, but you're picking those spots. Right hip, right armpit, left armpit. Somewhere in there is someone's least favorite volley, and you're trying to find a weakness or find a spot that's going to get you a short ball. So it's cumulative trauma. You're building points, picking shots, waiting for that right shot.
Game, Dardis and Shay.
Again,
Games
I like
are
the
3-all.
movement. It's just
First
too big
set.
of a swing. But I like that keeping the engine going, because Niculescu learned from those past two matches is that if she is not moving, if her engines aren't revved up, no firepower. Dardis and Shay control the pace, control the placement.
Love 15.
See, there's an opportunity for Liz Cruz. 2 in a row. She got short, too short down up
Love
overheads
30.
from Cynthia
I'm sorry,
Dardis in
love
the service
30.
box. And I think
Cruz
she
serving.
look to move forward, attack those. Even if they volley behind her, Niculescu's there, it'll create movement. Ah,
15-30.
nice grab. Drive-by volley, I call those.
I'm sure Dardis will note that, and we'll possibly see a down-the-line return to serve in the near future.
Maybe even a down-the-line lob return. There we go.
15-40.
Right, good control of the speed there. Hit it hard enough to get it by her, but not so hard that they could run it down.
Game, Dardis and Shay. They lead the first set, 4-3.
So, Patty, this is our final
New ball.
stop on the Grand Prix Tour. There's
Amen.
5 tournaments during the season, and Cruz and Niculescu are on top, and I believe they will remain on top.
I think the winner gets 25 points and 21 to the finalists, Jerry. So they've
Yes, do you want help?
secured their name on top of the board for this season.
All right, and so help me understand that, because they split the 2 tournaments each, which means one of those tournaments must have had more points
Oh,
than the other.
Okay.
So
Do you
they're
wanna clear that
weighted.
one,
The
Pauline?
Grand Prix are given a guaranteed baseline number, but
The
if
new
there are
ball.
more of the top seeds play in one particular tournament,
Yep.
the
New
points
ball,
go up,
ladies,
and I think
new
that's
ball.
what gave the edge to Cruz Niculescu.
I believe
Yeah,
that's
that's
right.
good. Thanks.
Dardis and Shay won
Okay.
it the first year in 2015, 2016.
Okay.
And Liz Cruz won it last
All right.
year with Roxy and
4
Vika.
serving 3.
So, Jerry, you were spot on with the keys to winning here with both teams.
Love
and
15.
some service concerns and lots of breaks here to start this final off.
And that's a better controlled pace volley by Niculescu. Nice move. You hear Cynthia Dardis calling, hit it. They leave nothing to chance. I mean, Lord knows these guys have played 5 million matches together, but they call every single ball.
And I love watching how Dardis will just vacate the space. She lets Shay hit exactly the overhead she wants. They rarely contend for a middle ball. We saw Cruz cut off 2 overheads there.
Fabulous grab by Amy Shay. She just stayed square to the angle of the ball. Niculescu made a wonderful move, came across, but maybe should have rolled it back to Liz Cruz. I mean, Dardis, rather than putting on Amy's paddle.
A little confusion on the score, but umpire Tim McAvoy was all over it, Jerry.
So 15 all. Amy Shay serving. Okay, so here's an opportunity for Cruz and Niculescu.
Because Dardis is to the left of Dardis and Shay.
Correct. And you don't get too many looks at this, so Liz Cruz is the one that can capitalize.
She's got to lob a little deeper than that.
30-15.
Yeah, as soon as Dardis and Shay get a short ball, they'll hit that overhead into the screen and make the switch, and the window's gone. So when it appears, you've really got to take the most of it. Wonderful volleys.
See, they just stayed right there on top of the net.
And the volleys went straight back and deep. She didn't try to redirect. Gabriela was moving forward into the court, and that last ball, she should have let Liz Cruz take it for her, so she wouldn't have to go back. Oh, I love that.
40-30.
Talk about court awareness as she rolled with the ball between her and the net.
Deuce.
And kudos to Niculescu. She had her 4th opportunity on that, and she just hit a really controlled volley, kept the ball low. Didn't take a big swinging shot on it.
Ball was deep. Advantage, Cruz.
So breakpoint opportunity for Cruz Niculescu.
Deuce.
Dardis and Shay just
Deuce.
played the big point so well.
Great deep volley there, Jerry. This is the setup Cruz and Niculescu want. with Dardis to the left of Amy Shay.
It's just a flurry of activity from Cruz and Niculescu. They're hitting a lot of different combinations, covering each other. And the economy of movement from Dardis and Shay, based on their court positioning, really allows them to play these long, big matches. Oh!
Advantage,
that was
Dardis.
so well played. And Patty, all 4 women are teaching professionals in Fairfield County. How lucky for those women's leagues and men's leagues and all the juniors up there to have such 4 talented professionals.
Jerry, the state of Connecticut represents so well in our sport with high-level teaching pros, huge amount of kids, phenomenal ladies and men's participation, the women's league headed up by our friend Tiernan Cavana. Connecticut's a place to be for paddle.
Game, Dardis and Shay. They lead the first set 5-3.
And that was a well-placed volley by Cynthia Dardis there. And again, Liz Cruz needed to come over and help out because Gabby Niculescu was all the way over to the side screen attacking and moving forward. And you want that one partner that's moving into the court and attacking and flowing not to have to think about coming back and covering. So Dardis and Shay they always see the court and they capitalize on those moments. And then we're talking about a few boards, but they see it and they execute it.
There's a gigantic hold for Amy Shay there to go up 5-3 here in this first set.
Up ball. Love 15.
I think Dardis and Shay even surprised themselves how well they withstood the firepower in that last point from Niculescu and Cruz.
That's the net position again, putting Liz Cruz on the left, hitting the overheads.
Love 30.
And you see a little bit of change in body language from Cruz and Niculescu. Just a little bit.
A little bit of a dip, Jerry.
A little disappointed that Amy ripped that forehand by them.
That ball caught the tape. 15-30.
Decisive overrule by our chair umpire.
15-30. $15.40.
Possibly a little bit of a wild shot, according to Shay. But not a surprising play, and they have to go at each other here, Jerry.
Well, the thing with Niculescu, you don't always know where she is to go at her. She's constantly moving, so Amy's thought may also have been
That's
just
fine.
to go down the line.
For sure, because Gabby moves
Here we
to
go.
the middle when she sees her opposition getting ready to tee off on a
It's
drive.
15-40.
So we've got set point opportunities for Dardis and Shay.
15-40. 15-40. Game and first set to Dardis and Shay, 6-3. Yes,
So-
2 minutes break.
So, Patty, what do you think? Taking away
Got it. Thanks, Mark.
Gabby's ability to
Got
hit
your
the roller
pad, too. Thank you.
I think Shay,
jumps out to me.
I think Shay and Dardis applied the same pressure throughout that set, and they forced some more errors. and
They're
I-
loose when they don't come out as far.
I think
When they're
Gabby
tight,
just
they come
missed
further,
some key
which means they're
plays
not
where
coming
she
out as
had
far.
applied a lot of pressure, was running through the middle, missed 2 wild forehand volleys.
That was a
I mean,
perfectly
this thing
fine
is
shot.
only
You didn't
separated
even
by a
clock it.
couple of points, Jerry.
That was half speed. It was,
All right, Patty, we'll be right back in just a moment after
You're-
these
you're-
messages
yeah.
right
You
here
didn't need
on
to
the
worry about that.
APTA network
not your
presented
MO.
by eNet Live.
Only in you can I be me. Only in you I find my peace. Lord, it's your love that pierces deep, deep to the very heart of me. And I hear you say, angels hear her sing.
I'm pulling my weight. Yeah. Go. I make anxious, call me broke, but I can't live this on my own.
Baseball has a rhythm. Pop, crack. It's the sounds of opportunity. That's why Good Sports helps kids get in the game by getting them the equipment they need. To learn more, please visit goodsports.org.
if you want to stay warm.
Welcome back to the
don't
Philly
know.
Open. We are in the finals of the Women's Philly Open between Liz Cruz and Gabby Niculescu and Cynthia Dardis and Amy Shay and Patty. First set.
Well, Jerry, we talk about serving and the importance of serving and volleying well and in every match. Kudos to Dardis and Shay. They each held toward the end of that first set, and I think that's the difference. And, you know, they have some pretty explosive shots that I've seen from them, and we can see a lot of body shots in this match, Jerry, and I only bring it up because so many viewers from home ask me all the time, you know, is that fair? Is that, you know, part of the game? And I say it is absolutely. You force a team to volley short, and you capitalize by hitting a drive toward their right hip with backhand volleyers. So Dardis and Shay rose there, as we've seen them do so often.
I think is critical that Cruz Niculescu get off to a strong, faster pace start. I just think it's too hard to grind against Dardis and Shay. Dardis and Shay dictating the speed of play. So
Second set.
here we go. Cynthia Dardis serving.
I think that first set, quintessential Dardis and Shay, Jerry.
Yes.
I feel like it's going to be on Liz Cruz's paddle here out of that juice court, make a difference here in this match. I think when she can get some offensive looks, it really helps the psyche of Niculescu.
15 love.
I think it's a little cooler, a little more difficult to lob well here versus yesterday in the morning when it was about 50 degrees. I think Cruz has to make an adjustment. I'd love to see some higher, deep lobs. Cruz and Niculescu have to figure out how to have this happen more often with Gabby controlling the overheads. I would look for Cruz and Niculescu to just keep Gabby to the left here in the second set.
And I think that roller, but it's the next shot that I think Niculescu can pinpoint a little more accurately. That could be the point-ending volley.
And Jerry, does she look for power there versus placement?
15 all.
Placement. And again, we're talking about 2 or 3 boards difference.
And when you say the boards, just moving it over just a little bit more to better take advantage of an opening she's created.
Because you can see, Amy, 1 or 2 steps, she's got the court covered. So you've got to go over a little bit more. Again, I mean, the court gets shrunk.
15 30.
And then if you see that Amy's moving over to cover quickly, then maybe put one behind her. But it's that back-to-back, the hard roller, getting the chase, getting the turnaround, and then
15 40.
I fully expect Niculescu here to take charge on as many shots as she can.
good pressure.
Game. Cruz and Niculescu. They lead the first set 1-0.
Now you'll watch the body language of Dardis and Shay. You're never going to see a enthusiastic skip in the step or a high five. They don't emote. But you can bet underneath that there is a fire burning of determination. Two of the most competitive players that I know on the tour.
Love 15.
And Jerry, because they keep their mental state pretty even, that allows them to deal with the ups and downs during a match.
Yes, they maintain their own ideal performance state, no matter what. So they have a great economy of
30.
motion and emotion.
Just got word from Ray Crosta, who handles
Love 40.
all the ranking points for the men's and women's tours, and he mentioned to us that we may have had an error in our reporting earlier on. He thinks, he's shared with us that whoever wins this match wins the Children's Cup.
Well, he would know because he
would
gives
know
us the
better than
points.
anyone.
So I'm just texting him back that I'd love to have the breakdown of how that happened.
Yeah, my research team must have made an error. That was me this morning at the local coffee shop.
No. We were. It didn't make sense that they were tied unless one tournament had a huge number of more points.
Game, Dardis and Shay. Games are 1-1.
Now see, that's a nice
second
barrage
set.
of shots going back to the person that was scrambling. Dardis and Shay, they see the court and they're able to execute a strategy based on what's happening while it's happening, which is a big difference of shoulda, coulda, woulda in the car on the way home.
Love. All.
So it's early in the first set, it's 1-1, but to me, this point right here is big.
And
this point is bigger. But Cruz and Niculescu have got to get off to a strong start and keep the momentum going, keep the fire going.
I would expect 90% of the overheads from Dardis and Shay to go to Liz Cruz.
Well, that was good. Niculescu let that ball go through for Liz Cruz to pick up and lob.
30 all.
I think when you can keep someone with the firepower of Niculescu out of the point and just bait her occasionally, that serves your team well.
Okay. 30 all.
Ah.
30-40.
Part of the game.
Amy and Cynthia are deciding where they're going to serve to Gabby, I would assume right now, Jerry.
Well placed
Game.
volley. That was a scramble, but Niculescu
Niculescu.
controlled the
They lead the
pace
second
of
set,
that volley
2 games
and
to
also
1.
the placement. Put it nice and deep into a backside.
Dardis and
so
Shay won the first set 6-3.
have to cover the most amount of distance to get that. And that's the key, is that it's one thing to hit that roller to create the movement and get the player out of position, but then your net positioning has to be set to cover the high percentage shot so that the volley can be placed back into the opening that you just created the movement for.
Love 15.
So Liz Cruz serving Jerry. I don't believe Liz has held serve today in this match so far. That point-
15 all.
That point is exactly what Niculescu wanted to have happen. She wanted to get herself to the left of Liz Cruz so that she can just keep firing away.
15-30. Fifteen 40. Fifteen 40. 15-40. Ball was on the tape. 30-40.
Gabby making an awkward pickup on a ball, and Dardis and Shay called the ball out. Umpire McAvoy overruled. Ball hit the line.
Game. Dardis and Shay. Games are 2-all. First set.
So again, Cruz was broken, so we found ourselves at 2-all in the second set. We're at the Cricket Club in Philadelphia. Last leg on our APTA Grand Prix Tour. Cynthia Dardis is getting ready to serve to Liz Cruz.
Love.
This is going to tell us a lot, Jerry, right now about the team of Cruz and Niculescu and how much, they're willing to dig in deep here, because how many great shots do they have to hit to win a point against that wall at the net of Dardis and Shay? I think the answer is one more than they've been doing.
Dardis and Shay are doing a good job of taking away Cruz and Niculescu's strengths.
all.
Cruz and Niculescu have to get more height on their lobs. That's a better lob. Get them out of the service box and get them looking up longer. Maybe create a little opportunity for one of them to sneak in behind it, just to create movement and to change the look.
That ball was on the tape. That ball was on the tape. 30-15.
Another rule, I mean, this action is so quick and furious, fast and furious.
35.
Looking like it's, and the sun's a little bit of a factor, having a little trouble with line calls. Tim has the best seat in the house and
He
has
does.
no trouble.
Did that touch? Okay. Ball's out. 40-15.
And you can feel the tension rising. There's a lot on the line. Both teams want to go into the Nationals being seeded number 1.
And it's only 2-2, but this is critical for Niculescu and Cruz, I think. I feel like if they haven't figured out some ways to win some points here,
Game.
no way.
Dardis and
and
Shay,
are backing down.
they lead the second set 3-2. They won the first set 6-3.
Dardis and Shay are dictating the speed of play. They're doing a great job of shutting down Cruz and Niculescu's strengths. And I think Cruz and
New
Niculescu
ball.
have to go to plan B strengths.
Gabby?
We'd just like to take this moment to thank our official sponsor, Save a Tree, the green choice of tree, shrub, and lawn care. Let Save a Tree focus on your landscape so you can focus on your game and enjoy every outdoor moment at home or at play. Save a Tree provides environmentally sensible services to properties in the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, Midwest, and Western regions. Contact them at saveatree.com for a complimentary landscape assessment
Ball's good.
by knowledgeable
Ball's good.
arborists. Gabby Niculescu serving.
Ball's out. Love 15.
What would have to be a must hold here.
Shout out to Drew Broderick, Jerry. He just chimed in and offered a little suggestion for the team of Niculescu and Cruz. He's a believer that you need to vary the heights of your lobs, and he thinks Dardis and Shay are just so well locked in their net play.
Love
Maybe
30.
if Cruz and Niculescu, when they are playing from the baseline, kind of can mix up the heights of their lobs. He thinks that could be a way for them to come up with a little bit more of a winning formula.
Ball was out.
Just
Love
goes to show
40.
you, Jerry. Everyone watches the live stream. All the players on the tour love knowing what's going on with all the players.
And I believe everybody learns from watching.
Game.
Can't
Dardis and
process it
Shay,
always
they
as
lead
you're
the second
competing.
set 4-2.
And I didn't see a lot of footwork on Gabby's volley, making that adjustment a little to her right on a really laser-like forehand return to serve from Amy Shay.
And there's the drop shot. We haven't seen a lot of that drop shot.
15 love.
But Cruz Niculescu need to come together as a team right now between the points. Go over, high five, get that energy going back up. It's that spark between the teams that can sometimes make a huge difference, turning things around.
30. Love.
And as sometimes it's a case, the team that's in front starts getting the breaks. They get the leg cord, they get the neck, they get the just when you're getting your feet under you.
Dardis and Shay do close this match
40.
out.
Love.
I'll kind of question the tactics of getting Cruz hitting so many overheads in that first set. Felt like that took Niculescu a little bit out of the match.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I was trying to figure out when they started playing that way if they were going to
Game.
make an adjustment
Dardis and Shay,
once they got that
they lead
short
the second
lob
set
and
5
let
games
Gabby
to
step
2.
in and take it and
They
then
won
put
the
it back
first
on the
set
left. But I
6-3.
didn't see how it was going to play out, how those pieces were all going to flow. But
Another thing I think I would like to see Cruz do a little bit of that deuce cord would be to move over to her right and in. You talked about being in, and I even like the play to go over and cut off that corner altogether and let Gabby take more of those balls up the middle.
so Cruz serving.
Love 15.
And you just feel the water is going down the drain too quickly for Cruz and Niculescu. It's been Dardis and
15
Shay's
all.
speed of play, and they've executed their plan perfectly. I mean, it's one thing to have a plan, but they've executed it.
$30-15.
All right, a small spark for Cruz and Niculescu here.
30 all. $40-30.
Smart. She knew Gabby was moving. She saw Gabby move. She just didn't make it.
Game. Niculescu, Cruz. Dardis and Shay lead the second set 5-3.
Cruz,
Love
on delay. She
15.
took off.
$15 all.
Just going too big there in this moment. Put the ball in play up the line.
I think
They
she's-
gave you the line.
She looks frustrated. And Dardis and Shay will do that to you.
15
You don't
30.
get to hit your favorite shots. It's like, come on. You gotta figure out a tactic that's gonna set up a plan B.
All right, now all of a sudden Cruz and Niculescu are very bubbly and chatty, Trey.
$15-40.
Two volleys here. Dardis has backed off a little bit. She hasn't done that in the whole match.
And again, Patty, I point out to the economy of movement of Dardis and Shay. And Cruz and Niculescu have got to mix up their shots to get movement from Dardis and Shay. They can't let them just play the way they are, standing in the one spot. Just 1 or 2 steps of movement is all they're being forced to do on most of the points. Send up those high, deep lobs down the line, then send up a 3/4 height
Balls
one
out.
cross court. I mean, get
Game.
them having to be
Cruz.
more athletic
Niculescu.
movement.
Dardis and Shay lead the second set, 5-4. They won the first set, 6-3.
How many times do we see paddle matches look like it's going very fast in one team's direction? All of a sudden, Jerry, one shot, a tiny little spark happens to the team who's down, and all of a sudden, we've got ourselves a match here, 5-4, second set, finals of the Philadelphia tournament, our last leg on the Grand Prix Tour, sponsored by APTA, Viking, Save-A-Tree, and Uline.
Love.
Cruz was lucky to get all the way out of her way, including her hair. It's a critical point for Niculescu and Cruz versus the Amy Shay return to serve. I like that they're taking a lot of time to figure this out.
Nice combination of rolls by Niculescu.
30, love. Love.
And you see the piece that was missing, and it's bringing the points back on Cruz Niculescu's side. So 40 love, chance to tie the second set at 5-all.
40-15.
Laser forehand of Amy Shay. Just enough to get a reach. And you see the pressure being put on the volleys by Amy Shay, moving forward. They know the moment in the match to put the pressure even more on their opponents. Such a court awareness, sense awareness, and that was a great
Cruz,
hold by Cruz
Niculescu.
Niculescu.
Games are 5-all, second set.
And the volleys of Cruz and Niculescu there, they withstood 4 really powerful drives to get themselves feeling comfortable in that point.
Okay, Amy Shay serving. Who's gonna go big? Who's gonna have the fight? These are the moments in the match where you can't afford to be fearless.
Love, 15.
And the momentum has definitely shifted to Cruz Niculescu. They got to hit some rollers. Now Gabby Niculescu is coming in behind a blitz, and the movement is back on their side of the court.
So dependent on Liz Cruz applying some pressure out of that deuce court.
Nice rip.
Love 30.
And there was a skip in the step of Niculescu.
Hey, I would have skipped him if Cynthia Dardis fed me that ball at this key point in this second set. Again, I would not put the ball on Niculescu's paddle here if I'm Cynthia Dardis.
Yeah, she's feeling it.
Out. 15-30.
Niculescu did not have to go that big right here. All the momentum's going in their favor.
Huge return
40.
of serve.
That serve was really close to the line, and I'm not sure Amy Shay thought she made it.
All right, break point opportunity to go ahead in this second set.
Thirty, 40.
They all realize how big this return of serve opportunity is for Niculescu.
Oh,
Deuce.
Really good hands from Cynthia Dardis there to pick off that shot.
Ball was out. The ball was out. 100%.
Again, just
Advantage. Dardis.
a little too much of a swinging volley there for Gabby. She didn't have to go that big.
a little bit to me like she hesitated on the volley. Didn't quite flow. A huge move, and the right move. She just missed it.
Really good footwork from Cynthia Dardis out here in the deuce court right now.
Yeah, she has, to her credit, she has worked really hard to be able to manage these hard rollers.
She manages to keep adjusting her sunglasses as well, Jerry.
That's the play.
Deuce.
But you see, Cynthia really has learned to not only get the ball up the screen, but turn it into an offensive opportunity. Put herself where she can attack those higher, deeper ones.
Advantage. Cruz.
Who's going to execute, Patty?
It's only fitting. This is a really good point right at this point in the match. Feeling like Niculescu's dialed in here.
Deuce.
Felt like her energy dipped a little earlier. I feel like she's right here now.
Advantage, Dardis.
Kind of an awkward shot from Cruz there up the middle. You know, trying to lob with topspin is really a challenging shot, I think. Maybe she didn't know if she was going to let it hit the screen or not, Jerry.
That was a
Wonderful.
smart
Game.
lob by
Dardis
Cynthia
and Shay.
Dardis.
They lead the second set, 6-5. They won the first set, 6-3.
So you could see that, you know, the play to play the deuce side, to hit that roller into that backside screen, comes with the risks of not only can she run it down and then attack it off the backside, but it also creates that Achilles heel for the two righties where that lob goes cross-court on the angle if the net team hasn't shifted. And that's what Cynthia Dardis did a fabulous job of seeing that opening and being able to execute again. So we just want to take this quick second to thank Uline, which is a leading distributor of shipping, industrial and packages materials to businesses throughout North America. They ship over 2.5 million boxes every day, but they are so much more than a box company. Uline, the best selection of products and people for an outstanding customer experience.
So Cruz is gonna have to hold serve to get this set into a tiebreaker here, Jerry. Cruz held the last time she served.
15 love.
That was a fabulous scout shot out wide that got the reaching error into a low percentage part of the court. A little off pace. Big move by Liz Cruz at this point.
Ball was out. 15 all. $30-15.
Do you think Gabby's gonna move, Jerry?
No. I had to wait.
30
Oh,
all.
look at Amy, just her pinpoint accuracy on her drive.
Advantage, Shay.
And again, it's the placement of the volley after the movement. And like that, we're at match point for Dardis and Shay.
Game, set, and match to Dardis and Shay. They win 6-3, 7-5. Welcome, well played, ladies.
Wow, Patty. That was a Tremendous second set comeback, crawling up with energy from Cruz and Niculescu, but hats off to Dardis and
Shouts to all my boss boys. Shouts to all my boss boys. We rowdy. Shouts to all my boss boys. Shouts to all my boss boys. We rowdy. Shouts to all my boss boys. Shouts to all my boss boys. We rowdy. Shouts to all my boss boys. Shouts to all my boss boys.
we can see they're going to be setting up, Patty, for the trophy presentation.
I mean, that was kind of an abrupt ending to that match. We thought we were headed for 3 sets, Jerry, and Dardis and Shay do what they do all the time. They came up big time with a couple of really good volleys in that game.
Yeah, that was a tremendous effort, as we were saying, by Cruz and Niculescu to kind of get the momentum back and work their way into that second set, because it was all Dardis and Shay, and we really did think they were going to be able to pull that second set out. But hats off to Dardis and Shay again. They just can play under pressure and rise to the occasion time and time again.
And what a big win for them heading into the national championships.
All right, so we're going to throw it down to the winners with Mark Fischel for an interview.
Great.
Okay, I'm here with the winners of the 2018 Philly Open, Amy Shay and Cynthia Dardis. Guys, how do you keep doing it?
Teamwork. Honestly, I really think it's teamwork. We're very supportive. We practice together all the time.
We have that luxury.
Yeah.
We get along well. We're having a good time.
Yes.
Okay, well, let me start listing what you won today. You guys are now the #1 seed at Nationals.
Yippee!
I guess.
That was gonna happen.
Sometimes that's a jinx. Sometimes that's a jinx.
You guys now have won your 3rd consecutive Children's Cup.
No, we didn't win it last year. We've won 2.
We won it the first year.
The first year, yeah. So we didn't think it was going to happen this year because we didn't do too well in Long Island, but we're very happy.
Yeah.
Cynthia, you've done a remarkable job adjusting to Gabby's hard overhead. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because to me, that was the difference in the match.
Well, you live and learn. I mean, what was it, the Darien when we had the Nationals there? It was just a complete failure. So it was practice, practice, practice. And when we have practice games with men, I ask them to hit them to me so I'm better prepared for them in the matches against Gabby and Roxy eventually.
Yeah, it's helped.
Well, I got to say, you guys are the most sound fundamental